Trade talks intensifying. Devils looking to make a splash before the season gets underway. Will they be able to get it done? Tom Fitzgerald has some work to do. Implications. Let's talk. Welcome, Devil fans. Glad you're here today. Feel free to stick around. Hit the subscribe button as we continue to get closer to the NHL season. So, coming into this offseason, we all had our picture of what a perfect offseason would look like. Whether it would be go get another top six winger, go figure out your backup goaltending situation, third line center Nikolai Ehlers, that was a name that was out there that looked like it could fit the Devils. We all had different visions, and what we wanted the offseason to go like. Usually doesn't completely line up with what the general manager's thinking. We saw Tom Fitzgerald go ahead, fix up the bottom six a little bit in the winger position. Didn't seem to get a third line center. They do bring Cody Glass back, feels a little bit more fourth line. Goaltending, well, they gave, Jake Allen, a funky contract. They don't really want to go with Nico Daws. They like Jake Allen as a backup goaltender. So I think everyone had a different picture of what was going to work in the offseason going into next season. But whether it be different or maybe not agree with everything that Tom Fitzgerald did, I think there's one thing that we can all agree with what works in the NHL. It's having a good salary cap or being able to be flexible. Well, this offseason, the Devils were able to be a little bit more flexible with Ondrej Palat. His no trade clause going to a 10-team trade, 10 teams that he can be traded to. And from what it sounds like, Devils have been trying to trade Ondrej Palat all offseason. Haven't been able to get it done. With Carey Price going to San Jose, maybe opens up things a little bit more. Look, starting with Ondrej Palat, let's just be honest where he is at this point in his career. He's over the age of 30. It hasn't worked out the 3 years here in New Jersey. Now, a signing at the time that I think did need to happen. I mean, you missed out on Johnny Gaudreau. You hadn't done anything all offseason. You just finished towards the bottom of the league. You can't just not do anything. I mean, no, that's how a general manager gets fired. Saying that there was nothing to fix there on a team that was towards the bottom of the NHL doesn't really fly. It's a business where you go out quick. GMs, they don't get a ton of time. I mean, you can kind of question, is Tom Fitzgerald on the hot seat after just having a 50-win, 100-plus point season 2 years ago? It looked really good. Looked really good for Lindy Ruff, too. Well, Lindy Ruff was gone not even 12 months later. So, when you have a position or in a situation like that, where you didn't have a great team, you missed out on your top, free agent signing, you need to do something. Ondrej Palat was one of those players available. I'm not going to go out here and say that, they shouldn't have signed Ondrej Palat. You had to do something. You had to go and get some type of scoring help. I don't think that, sitting there that offseason and not doing anything would have been beneficial for the Devils either. I mean, we go back to that playoff series against the Rangers. 2 of those goals are created by Ondrej Palat. They don't happen without Ondrej Palat. So when I look back at it, yes, was 5 years, $6 million, a little bit too much? Yeah. But when you go to free agency, I mean, we see it all the time. And people are always like, well, don't general managers learn from past free agency, learn from the mistakes. It's more so this is just what happens in free agency. People get overpaid. It's going to happen every single free agency. I mean, that's what happens in bidding wars. When you're bidding on something, the value usually goes for higher. It's usually more valuable product to go out and get because there are other teams bidding on it. That's how it works. Ondrej Palat, you know what? A lot of teams wanted some maybe other players or looking to build in other ways, and then that value for Ondrej Palat was going to go up. I mean, he signed late that free agency night. It was like 9 p.m., 8 p.m., and the Devils signed Ondrej Palat. There were already some other options gone. Teams had to pivot and go with something else. So Devils get Ondrej Palat, 5 years, $6 million in free agency in 2022, and that in the beginning had the no trade clause that got switched to a 10-team trade clause. But now that you're in a position where, you can move off Ondrej Palat, you do have 10 teams that you can work with. Teams that where, Ondrej Palat will be like, okay, I can go there. That works for me. And when you're New Jersey and you're in a position where, your cap maybe not in the best position, you have needs around your roster. I mean, go ahead, look. That top six isn't going to work. You just don't have enough scoring punch on the wings. And yes, could Dawson Mercer move over to the wing? Potentially, but then your third line center, you still don't have one. Kind of like what happened all last season, even with your fourth line center. That didn't get taken care of, should have. But when you look at your top six, you have guys like Stefan Noesen, Ondrej Palat. I mean, you can't have both in your top six without having in your bottom six somebody who can play in the top six. And you look at that bottom six, I mean, that's all bottom six players. Now, Arsenij Griciuk, I think, is going to be a top six player, but again, you're not familiar with its NHL game. He hasn't played an NHL game yet. So you don't know where he's actually going to fit in. Do I think he's going to be a top six player? Do I think he's going to be very dynamic and creative like he was in the KHL, playing really well with Demidov? Yes, I do think you get all of that out of Arsenij Griciuk. But you still have to be ahead of schedule. You still have to be ahead of the game. If that's not going to work, or you don't feel comfortable enough with his defense putting him in the top six, then you have to figure out another way to get that done. I mean, I'm all for, Arsenij Griciuk. We already know he's going to make some turnovers. There's going to be mistakes. He's not going to be a good defensive forward. I kind of take all that and I go, well, you know what? I can live with that. I can live with that when I have a player in my top six who I think can get, 20, 25 goals and get over 50 points, and build off of that. Like I see Griciuk in a top six role who could be, a 25 goal scorer, 60-point player. I can see that with Griciuk this season. He's dynamic. He's creative. The Devils need that in their top six. Because, Stefan Noesen, yes, nice year, but, probably not as dynamic, creative, not as much upside as an Arsenij Griciuk. He hit his career high in goals in January. Stefan Noesen, great for your third line. Top six, well, you better have someone beneath him who can play in the top six who's playing in the bottom six. Ondrej Palat, like I said, over the age of 30. Hasn't really worked out for the 3 years here. Probably getting paid or overpaid. You're looking to move off of a player like that and be able to build in your top six. Because last year, we think with the Devils and their offense. Jack Hughes goes down. Well, power play stayed good, but he finished 20th in the NHL in scoring 5-on-5. When you have a top 3 power play and you finish top 20 in scoring or top 20 in goals, there's clearly a 5-on-5 problem. There's clearly something wrong with your 5-on-5 offense. You're not getting enough. Now, would it help if Timo Meier, didn't start playing or didn't start producing till March, and Dawson Mercer didn't have back-to-back down years? Yeah, it would have helped. But if you're going to get something similar to that again this season, you didn't do anything to offset that next year. Getting guys like Connor Brown and Evgeny Dadonov, they're great for their position, great for third, fourth line wingers, but they're not going to contribute too much to being a 20th scoring team in the National Hockey League. You're not going to get too much better there. Where you get better there is by taking what you do well. Well, Devils have the top 2 center duo in the division. It's not even close. What do? Well, you don't get any third line center. You struggle in your centers. You struggle at your wings. That doesn't work. That doesn't tend to give you good results. Results where you're going to be happy with, where you're going to be better than 20th in the league in scoring. Mind you, a top 3 power play in the NHL. Still finishing 20th in the league in scoring with a top 3 power play. 2 players who finish over point per game players. That doesn't really work. It's not something to be happy with. And then going out and yes, you get Connor Brown, you get Evgeny Dadonov, and when you can improve your team in certain areas, you do it. But when you have needs, you got to look at that first. It would be nice to have, a Mercedes, but you need the food. You need to eat. So when you have needs, you need to go out and get that. You need to go out and get your top 6. The bottom 6, relatively for what they have in their lineup right now, would have been best improved by getting top 6 help. Top 6 winger help. Because then you can feel better at moving Dawson Mercer to a third line center role. You can feel better about Stefan Noesen playing in the bottom 6, Paul Cotter in the bottom 6. You feel okay there. The last offseason, they took care of the bottom 6. What did they do again this offseason? They took care of the bottom 6. What do they do with the top 6? It'll be okay. You know, we're fine there. We just signed Timo Meier to a really long contract. We're fine there. Jesper, Bratt, Jack Hughes, they're all locked up long term. We're okay there. Well, last year you finished 20th NHL in scoring. Clearly not okay enough. They are looking to move on from Ondrej Palat. We'll see if Tom Fitzgerald can get a deal done for Ondrej Palat. So the takers are obviously only 10 teams they can pick from. So we'll wait and see on that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back really soon.